All right, so as you may have noticed by now, I'm pretty big on the idea of approaching Norse mythology as a code or, a whole bunch of different little codes and keys and view it more as a symbolism or a collection of symbolisms rather than something to take literally, obviously. And so just to illustrate what that does and how you can play around with that, I'm gonna just do a very quick little exploration of one myth. We're not gonna go very deep into everything that everything means, but we're just gonna do a vague scratching of the surface, just touching in on the tiny gist of it, so you guys can see how piecing this entire puzzle together can actually build a pretty spectacular and amazing picture for you guys. So let's dive in, shall we? And for today's exploration, I have picked the death of Baldur. So Baldur is the god of light, joy, purity. The summer sun will, just the quickest things according to the Wikipedia article. There are some more different details in some of the myths. Now, as you'll see as you go through the texts and the sagas, they're not always quite consistent. All the texts don't always agree on everything with each other, and there are sometimes details in one that are left out in the other. So just bear that in mind, that there's not always consistency on everything, or consensus on everything, which makes for a more lively exploration in my humble view. So anyways, but what most would agree on is Baldur is the ultimate image of beauty and yeah, and joy and purity above all. It's like it's like this wonder or spectacle of just good and beauty and purity in this world. Very fair to look at. So you have him, and now just to show you how the genealogy matters. So he's the son of Odin, and he's the father of Forseti. So Odin, of course, the All Father, the god of knowledge and wisdom and healing and all these spectacular things, the man who brought us the runes so we could write and study and do magic, all these things. The basically the creator of knowledge and civilization. So he gave rise to beauty and purity and joy, and then he gave rise, Baldur, to Forseti, the god of justice. So you can see kind of how there is construction going on there that creates and gives rise step by step to civilization. So there are hints there, and this is just father to son to son. Look at everything else they represent, what all their items and pets, animals, their halls, all of those things represent, and and the mothers as well. Who are the wives of these gods, and or the ones that they. What is the union? What is the relationship with that each god and each goddess or giantess come together and give rise to this son or daughter who's a god of this or that, and what does that represent, and what is the union? Those elements, those elements of sorry, keep my hands here. So those elements from this person and those elements from that person coming together. What is the nature of the union? Why does that produce this child? Those things. There are clues all over that place. So this is just a quick demonstration of what genealogy can be informative of in the mythology. And anyway, so yeah, we're going to go into the death of Baldur. So we have this god of purity and beauty and everything that is fair and gorgeous, beautiful about the world and about existence. And so, anyways, the story goes that that Baldur has this dream where he foresees his own death, and his mother Frigg shares the dream. They both have that dream, and he goes into some state of depression, and loved by his mother, she goes out to get everything. So she talks to the matter the world. So, objects or things of different compositions. So she would be talking to rocks and to trees and to so there's a connection to the land whites, and the fact that this idea that every matter in the world, all the matter in the world, has some sense of life to it. So yeah, so she gets everything, every rock, every plant, every object or matter in the world to swear to her that it will not do him harm. So basically, after getting all of those vows, then he should not be harmed by any physical object after that. Now she gets everyone to swear on it, everything to swear on it, except from the mistletoe. And there are different contemplations on that. Whether it's just because it's considered so irrelevant and small and innocent and harmless that it shouldn't even bother with asking it to do such a vow. And one source, let me see if I can read that source. So some scholar had argued that might what might be linked to. Let's see. Sorry for taking this time, but I just really want to toss that in if I can find it. Yeah, which Merrill Kaplan has instead argued echoes the fact that young people were not eligible to swear legal oaths, which could make them a threat later in life. So this scholar Merrill Kaplan kind of tied it with an idea that because in Norse law, young kids couldn't swear a vow. So, for example, probably not to avenge someone's death. Then, since they couldn't swear those vows, then obviously, they grew up. They weren't obligated to. They hadn't vowed to it. So, tied to that idea, whether that is a has some merit to it, I don't know, but it's not improbable. Anyways, so the only thing that can legitimately harm Baldur is the mistletoe, the most irrelevant, innocent, and a harmless little thing. There's a symbolism there for life, for modern day. Anything we just perceive to be so irrelevant that we don't consider it, and then it comes and bites us in the back later. I think a lot of us can see a connection there. So, then introduce our favorite, Loki. Because every good story of things that go horribly, horribly wrong need to have Loki in them. Because again, we've talked about him. This that conflicted nature. This half god, half giant, this trickster element, and like I said, I like to apply as much empathy to that as I possibly can. I don't want to attribute ill intent to him unless I at some point maybe see something that just takes away the any possibility that there was no ill intent on his part in that case. But until I see something that just doesn't allow me to assume there's no ill intent anymore, then yeah, I will assume that there was really no genuine ill intent. So whether in this case he wanted to just try it out, test it, see what it does, or whether there was some kind of spite there or jealousy or whatnot, I don't know. But all I know is what he does and who it involves. So what he does is that he makes, and again here we have different accounts on this, and they don't all sync up. But the source I'm going by on this one for this exploration, according to that one, it's Loki takes the mistletoe and turns it into an arrow. So it makes an arrow out of a mistletoe, and then goes to Höder, a less known god, but and this is a clue, he's blind. He's a blind god. Now, what does that represent? So there's nothing wrong with being blind, but if we're looking at it and just entertaining it for the purpose of this exploration, just entertaining the idea that that might be a symbolism for uh, ignorance or the like, then that can illustrate at least one picture. Now, I'm not going to say this picture is exactly what that myth means, but it's one interpretation that can give one kind of meaning that could be plausible, but at any rate, it's one way to interpret a text in which gives it life and wealth. So let's just explore the idea that Höder is a symbol of ignorance, or either a lack of capacity to see something, or the lack of will, or being somewhat absent-minded from things. But for some reason, if we take it as it's someone who just for some reason cannot see or doesn't see. So Loki goes to this blind god who also coincidentally, or maybe not so coincidentally, but consequentially happens to be the brother of Baldur. And there's another illustration there. So you see it's not too far between, it's not a long way from everything that is beautiful and pure in this world over to that which does not see. So if you see people who are pretty innocent and well-intended and genuine and pure in their lives, and you can have those same kind of people who just also happen to be, we often call, blissfully ignorant. Well-intended, nothing, pure in every form, but they just happen to be blissfully ignorant or willfully ignorant, or things just escape them. So you see, there's not a long way. It's not much that separates the two. So it would make sense that if we put them as archetypes, that these kind of people would have a relation, and their symbols would be brothers. It does make quite a bit of sense. So Loki goes up to Höder and tricks him into firing this mistletoe arrow out of his bow and fire it at Baldur. And Baldur gets hit and he dies. Now let's take that overall picture to a grander scale. So you have these people who are conflicted in themselves, or maybe treacherous, maybe there's jealous or spite, or this uncertainty or insecurity or whatever it is that might drive Loki. So any of those things that might be the driving force behind Loki, or any of those things that he might symbolize that creates that turmoil, that internal turmoil and conflict and all of it, makes him opportunistic. So where do we see people who are opportunistic in life, out of their conflicted self or their conflicted nature, opportunistic to make use of those who are potentially ignorant and drive them with them in a hive mind, or kind of a collective little movement or force to kill all of that which is beautiful and pure. Mind blown. If I did this correctly, your mind should be blown right now. So where do we see that? Is that maybe some kind of pattern that we might see in some way, shape, or form in our modern world? Well, I think so. I think, and this was just a very, very quick, vague little exploration of this idea. And if you take this and go deeper, you might find in there more details that gives you more meat on the bones. It might alter this tiny little idea that, the conflicted opportunists get the ignorant along with them to kill beauty. You can that summary might be altered based on what other details you find. It might shift or change. It might mean something completely different, but this is one potential idea. And as you go deeper, you might find even more details, but it's surely a different picture than to just say, some random dude just made an arrow out of something and got some other guy shot dead and whatnot, and it was a big boohoo because the guy who died was this wonderful guy. And just look at that other thing. So again, to the genealogy. So wisdom and knowledge and health and all of these things that Odin symbolizes gives rise to beauty and the joy and everything that Baldur gives rise to, and or what Baldur symbolizes, then he gives rise to justice, and we're seeing that progression in a war culture, a warrior culture, is still giving you that projection, that progression, I'm sorry, towards justice, ideas of justice. And there's something to be said for that. For those who just want to say that everything in Norse culture is just evil and vicious and malicious and all these things. I, you know, biased as I am, and I admit it, but there are vicious elements in there. I don't deny that, certainly. And you know what? Maybe we are just a culture of raiders and bandits and pirates and everything else bad under the sun, what have you. You know what? If that is the reality of it, that is the reality of it. That is, however, not how I choose to look at it, because that is not how I choose to explore our mythological heritage, our cultural and literary heritage, I'm sorry. That is not how I choose to approach this entire material, because quite frankly, I think there's no quicker way to kill a piece of text than to just take it at face value, just literally, and leave it at that, and don't, never ever applying a single thought to it, or exploration, examination, or even something as basic as a newspaper article. You can read it 10 times, 20 times, 100 times, and always find something new that skipped you the first time. And yeah, there's something that should have, ideally, if you want to really explore what's been written over the centuries, you should have some sort of a toolkit to look for anything and everything and all potential things you might find in there that might mean something or alter something, or just ideally just give you more juice. And this is one way to do that. So if we take this on, that that people, that the Lokis of the world can trick all the others in the world and build big giant movements of using their opportunistic little timing sense there, and build big blind movements of activism or political motion or action or anything, and just collide with each other like that, then yeah, they can very quickly kill everything that is beautiful and pure in this world. So it's definitely something here that speaks to totalitarianism. I don't think the Norse culture is in any way, shape, or form a stranger to the concept of total, because there were some noble, good chieftains and some not so nice, and the same with every other culture and kingdom that the Norse encountered and had to deal with, either trade with or fight with or whatnot. So yeah, so throughout this culture, they knew what dictatorship, what tyranny was. So yeah, just take that for a walk a little bit and read some of these myths and see what you find. Anyways, that's it for now. Just one little exploration quickie that I wanted to toss your way, and I sure as hell hope it made you think and resonated in some way, shape, or form. If not, if you have any questions or you have any suggestions, comments, or some place wherein you don't think I did justice to any of the material, or whatever thoughts you might have, comment section. It's there for, at your discretion, at your disposal. Use it. Besides, I totally love reading what all of you guys have to say about all this stuff. I'm really curious, and if you tell me I'm full of shit, great, I'm full of shit, so bring it. Honestly, yeah, definitely. I love it when people tell me I'm full of shit, because it prompts me to ask, okay, so why am I full of shit? Which, genuinely, I listen to that. Anyways, enough rambling. If you like this, you like the content, like, share, subscribe, spread the good word all over the place, or spread the terrible word and say, hey, look at this asshole who thinks he knows something, you know. Yeah, just let's keep building, you guys, and whatever you're doing out there in your lives, I wish you well, I wish you success, and I wish you happiness if you want happiness. So just go out there, be great. Right. Have a good one. Viking out.